everyone, I'm Sheena from the Anderson Family Story. I'm back this week sharing another Bible journaling how-to with you. A few weeks ago I did a live video of an unboxing, and this coloring book is one of the items I received in the box. Today I'm going to use this coloring book and both of my Bibles for my Bible journaling how-to. Also, make sure you check out my blog post because I'm giving away one of these coloring books this week on my blog. Now I've already selected the page from this coloring book that I want to use, and I'll show you why I'm going to use both of my Bibles for it. I'm actually going to take this page out of my coloring book. Then I'm going to set the coloring book to the side. Now the reason why I'm using both of the Bibles is because I'm actually going to cut out this portion of the words and use it in my Promise Bible, because you all know I love to make bookmarks. And in my Promise Bible, the words on the side for the page of Jeremiah 15:16, the picture over here is Jeremiah 15:21. So I'm going to use this bookmark and put it in my Bible at Jeremiah 15:16 in my Promise Bible. But on my Creative Bible, I'm going to use the hearts, or some of the hearts, and put it into my Bible because if you look in my Creative Bible, the words on the side for the page of 15:16 is basically the exact same design as what is on this picture. So let's get started. And before I get started, I'm actually going to set my Creative Bible to the side for a minute. And I'm going to cut out this bookmark. The biggest thing is I want these long strips along the side of this bookmark. I am going to go ahead and cut these little pieces out also. Okay, and I'm going to set this bookmark to the side and I will use it later. Okay, so the biggest thing I want to use on these are these two pieces, and try to decide if I want to do watercolors, if I want to use pens, markers. Don't want to use crayons. I don't want to use color pencils. I do know that. I think I'm going to use markers. And I say I'm going to use markers because I want to use markers on this page in my Creative Bible to do the lettering. So let's go ahead and get started with that part first. And I probably should have grabbed wax paper, and again I forgot to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and put some scratch paper down behind this page. And I'm going to cover over this part with a thin layer of gesso because these markers do bleed through pretty badly and I don't want them to do that. So I'm going to use the gesso for that. I'm just putting a thin layer of the gesso on the side column where I'm going to do most of my design at. And now that I'm done with that, I'm going to use my heat gun and speed up the process of drying this gesso. actually dried pretty quickly. It is curling up just a little bit, but not that bad. I want to use some pinks and red. I'm going to get out. These are my favorite pink colors in my Stampin' Up! Collection of markers. These are the ones that I use the most. This one is Pixie Pink. This one is Pink Passion. This one is Pretty in Pink. And then I'm going to get out my red one also. I think this is actually the one I want, the rose red. I'm going to yeah, that's the one I want. And what I'm going to do, well, and then for my combo markers, I'm going to get out one other one. I'm going to get my red, because this is my favorite red for my combo markers. It's 847. If you have them, it actually is the red in the primary palette. So if you have those, that's the same one that I'm using. And what I'm going to use it for, I'm going to use this smaller tip. It's for this heart right here in the middle. That's actually like the only thing that I want to be red. And there's a slight bit of ghosting, but not hardly anything compared to when I was not using gesso with them. I'm actually going to just go ahead and color in that little patch part on the heart as well. Then I'm going to use, let's see, that is my Pink Passion. This is the Pixie Pink. That was the Rose Red. Let's put a mark for the Pretty in Pink as well. Okay, so those are the 4 colors I'm going to use. Actually, I think I'm going to take out the Rose Passion. It's a little different shade, so I'm going to use these 3 instead. And I know I want heart to be this color, which is Pixie Pink. Make sure that's right, yes. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to color in the word heart. I am using the bigger tip. I could use the smaller tip, but it's more like a pen tip. It's not like my Tombow markers. So I am going to use the bigger tip on it. It does, this particular one, you can tell I've used it a lot, so it's kind of frayed. Maybe you can see that tip. So it gets just barely outside of the lines. A lot of the pen tips on these markers don't work anymore, so I'm not going to try to use the pen tip. I've had these markers for like 10 years. Maybe longer than that. Okay, so I know I want heart, and I think I want God to be the same pink. Going to use the darker one for Joy. And Oh Lord. And then I'm going to use the light one for called. And I'm actually going to try to use the pinned end on this one because the other end is so frayed for the inside. Okay, now I'm done with this outer column. Now I'm going to look at some of the hearts on this page. Okay, I'm going to sit my Bible to the side for a moment. But I'm going to keep my scratch paper because I don't want to get marker on my tablecloth. And I'm going to color a few of these hearts. I'm not going to color the whole thing, and I'm kind of trying to decide where I want to cut and what I want to keep. I think I'm going to color a few of them. You know, a lot of these smaller areas, not going to color a lot of it real small. I'm going to color a lot of it with bigger colors, or bigger, kind of combine some of them. And since I used the darker one, I think I'm going to use the lightest one and do this other part. And then I think I'm going to use this red for some of the background around the hearts. Okay, and I'm actually going to pause the video while I color this because I think you all know how to color. And then once I get done coloring it, I'm going to cut the video back on and I will show you what I'm going to do with it. Okay, I have finished coloring the portion of this page that I'm going to color. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my paper cutter. I'm going to trim it. I don't want it to have any of the white. I'm going to trim it right there. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to kind of cut along some of these hearts to cut off the white part. Okay, and as you can see, this is what I have left that I'm going to use. I'm going to bring my Bible back over here. And I'm going to add this in like a tip in my Bible. I think I'm going to do it at the bottom of the page. No, I think I'm going to do it at the top of the page. Actually, I think I'm going to trim that portion off. Yeah, I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to do it at the top of the page, make it kind of like a tab but a tip in, all at the same time. Alright, I'm trying to decide. I really want it on this side because of the edge from where I tore it out of my coloring book. So let me find my glue. I'm going to take my glue. And I'm going to put just a thin line of glue right here. I'm going to take my Bible and I'm going to attach it just like that. And I'm actually going to close my Bible for a minute. When I close it, you can kind of see the tab sticking out the top. Still let that glue set good. And a lot of times I will use washi tape whenever I do a tip in over the edge like that, but this time I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to do it like that. And I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, now I'm trying to decide, I think I'm going to use part of this one and add it in as well. I think I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to set this to the side and use my scratch paper. I'm going to get my watercolors. Trying to decide if I want to use these metallic watercolors or if I want to use my watercolor crayons. I think I'm going to use my watercolor crayons, and I'm going to use from my watercolor crayons the exact same colors that I used from my markers, and I'm going to use the watercolor crayons because I have the same color names as I have on my markers, except for the red, but I have a good red that I'll use. Okay, so I used, this is Pixie Pink, and I used Pixie Pink, so I'm going to use that one. And then I used Rose Red, so I'm going to use that one. And I'm going to use this real red. No, I'm not actually. And let's find, this one is Pretty in Pink, which I think is that one. So I'm going to use those three. And I'm just going to kind of color this, kind of color it like a chevron, I think. I'm going to make my lines where I'm doing my chevron a little bit more, a little harder, so then they're a little more, you'll see them a little bit more. They won't kind of fade as much when I add the water, but then on the other part, I'm not going to make it as hard. And I know my lines are not the same from each line. I'm not really worried about it being perfect. I just want to add some color to this page and add it a little bit differently than your typical coloring book coloring. I like these hearts. I think they're really pretty for like a background. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this part. Just adding in some color and leaving the hearts kind of like a background design. And I'm not actually going to do all the way down, I don't think, because the whole thing won't fit in my Bible. But I wanted to try to do all 3 colors 2 times. Let's see how it's going to fit in my Bible. Okay, that doesn't actually fit fully, but I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to get out my watercolor crayons and my watercolor pen, markers, brushes. I'll get it right in a minute. My watercolor brushes. I'm going to use this one because I've kind of messed that other one up a little bit. I'm just going to start at the top and watercolor it down the page. I forgot to grab a napkin, so I'm just going to kind of wipe it off on my scratch paper a little bit to get rid of some of that color as I go to the next color. I don't think this lightest pink will really show over a whole lot on this dark one, so I'm not going to worry about wiping it off. I'm just going to keep going. And now I'm going to use my heat gun and dry it. Okay, and I think that is good and dry now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my Bible back over here. And I'm going to kind of look at the page. And I'm actually going to cut it to get my pencil. Okay, I'm actually going to cut it right there. And right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to put the paper in here, line it up with where I drew my little marks. And I'm just going to take that little edge off, and maybe I can find this right there. Take that little edge off, And then I am going to use some glue down here at the bottom. Let me find my glue, and I'm just going to put a fine little line of glue right there. I'm just going to kind of make it look like a bookmark, but not really a bookmark. Right on the page. Let me get a scratch paper and put it back under my page so then I don't mess up the page below it. Okay, and now that I have that in there, let me find, I think I'm actually going to put a piece of washi tape down here over this. Let's see. I have this one. I have that one. That one that I like. Just looking to see if I had I want a thicker one, just because it's going to be holding so much. Oh, but that one has hearts on it. So, I'm going to use the one with the hearts, and I am actually going to use it, I believe, across basically the whole bottom of this page. Yeah. I'm going to start it over here in this corner and just go across the page. I'm going to use my scissors and flip over onto the back so then I can cut it with the page but not cut the page. Yeah, and then I added that in there, and I'm not going to put anything at the top across any of it. I'm just going to let it lay like that. And then when both of the tip ends are, they'll kind of lay over and oversect like that. This one has my tab across the top, so you'll be able to see it out of the top of the Bible. This one just kind of doesn't cover the words, but adds a little bit more of the hearts into the Bible, just to add some more of the color and everything. So I'm going to take that out, and then I'm just going to close this Bible up so those pages can really flatten back out and stay good and flat with how those pages are. Be sure to check out my blog, because I'm going to share on my blog how I end up coloring this bookmark, and I will be showing it also on my blog. Don't forget, I have the giveaway going on this week on my blog of the coloring book. So if you like that color book, you're interested in it, make sure you enter that giveaway. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.